Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. I can sense it in the air. The bull run is about to continue. Bitcoin right now on the 5-minute chart, and I'm going to tell you guys why I have it on the 5-minute in a second. Bitcoin is coming out of an acute double bottom. Looks like it is going to continue to make its way up. Right now, as of the time of this recording, one Bitcoin is going for just shy of $100,000, 99,200. We've been seeing this type of movement for Bitcoin over the last little while. If I throw Bitcoin on the daily, we really haven't seen that much momentum. The all-time high for Bitcoin now, 108,400, and we're just slowly at this point in time trying to make our way back up. Of course, Bitcoin is the leader of the market, but the big show, guys, XRP just yesterday moved above $3 per coin. This is why I had the chart on the 5-minute. We've been seeing a lot of XRP activity over the last 24 hours. So XRP yesterday evening did reach a new high, almost $3.20. I think it was $3.99 on this particular exchange. We did see a bit of a dump because we did get news, the official confirmation that the SEC is in fact appealing. But the good news, guys, it really kind of V-bottomed out of that dip and just started to continue to trend upward, making higher lows. So this is positive news. Now, guys, as you can see as of the time of this recording, again, this is the 5-minute chart. So each candlestick represents 5 minutes of time. We're butting up against that brand new resistance level of $3.20 per coin. So what does this mean? Where's XRP going to go next? Of course, we did blow past the former inter-year high that we saw from back in early December. That was the $2.90 mark. And now XRP is trying to butt up against $3.20. So where are my XRP targets? You can find more information on that at patreon.com/workingmoneychannel. It's going to be pretty soon where I publish more targets over there, including XRP, where I plan on cashing out my altcoins, Bitcoin, how high I think this market's going to go. Patreon.com/workingmoneychannel for more information on that. So at this moment, everybody is super excited, but we have to remember XRP dominance is not even at 6% yet. This courtesy of Cryptocurrencies here on Twitter. Bitcoin dominance not even close to 40%. No bull run for altcoins yet. Just relax and enjoy the green candle ZERP holders. So remember, guys, XRP is pumping first this time. So this is a bit of an anomaly. We have been seeing, and this might change, by the way. We have usually seen XRP move last and fast, but it is just slowly grinding. And even if you throw this on the 1 hour, this doesn't necessarily even look like it had been recalibrating. Like when you put it on the 5-minute chart and you throw that Fibonacci down on here, you guys can see that it did reach the 0.786, did retrace back to the 0.382, and then is now butting back up against that high. But on the 1 hour, it just looks like a continuation pattern, a trend to the upside. So remember, guys, dominance still isn't there yet. Vincent Van Code posting this. I'm very pleased to be able to eat humble pie as I'm proven wrong that the appeal filing would send the price of XRP tumbling. So as I was mentioning, the price of XRP did tumble a little bit, throwing this back on the 5-minute chart. It did do this based on that news, but it's okay. We recovered quite significantly, even though it did and was exactly timed with the brief filing. It had quickly recovered and is merely behaving just as a healthy consolidation on its journey upward. I truly wish all XRP holders every success. 4 years of living with anxiety and hope are about to pay off. What a time to be alive and part of one of the greatest modern transformations in finance. XRP is the discovery of the transistor, but in the financial industry. Wow. So how is the market looking, guys? Look at that. Fear and greed up to 60. So technically we are now back in greed territory. Dominance for Bitcoin is still holding 56.3%. We haven't seen too much movement in terms of dominance. Remember, when the altcoins really pop off, that is going to drop. Crypto market cap, top 100 coins in terms of volume, that is up by about 4%. And the market cap too is up by about 4%. Take a look at some of the leading coins here, guys. XRP, number one in the top 10, up 15.6% in the last 24 hours, up 38.6% in the last 7 days. Bitcoin's up by a little bit, mostly green today. Solana is up by 13.9%. Let's take a look at XLM. Oh, I'm surprised. XLM is not up as much as I thought it would be. Hedera, though, up 15.89%. So some of these cryptocurrencies, the real world utility coins, taking the lead at the moment, even though now, guys, it is official. The SEC has just filed its opening brief appeal against Ripple. James K. Filan did post this yesterday in and around the time that XRP started dumping, and it's 109 pages. I'm not going to go over the full 109, but I'm here today to summarize some of the highlighted points here for you guys. Cherry Empress 21 did respond to James K. Filan's tweet. The SEC argues whether investors were led to expect profits is based not on the identity of the seller, but the economic reality of what the issuer said. This is a bold statement claiming the reality of all XRP investors' mindset when having purchased XRP. I mean, it's quite an assumption that they're making there. But under Howey, whether investors were led to expect profits is based not on the identity of the seller, but on the economic reality. Sherry also mentions here all XRP investors expected profits from Ripple's efforts to increase the price. And again, she's quoting the report here, or quoting the appeal. She also says the district court erred in requiring that investors know the seller is Ripple. The SEC is essentially arguing that the court should ignore third-party involvement, as there is no such rule that an investor needs to know that she is purchasing from an issuer or an affiliate. So this is Sherry's attempt at summarizing this. I'm not too sure it's the mindset argument they are making, but are in fact, to your first point, saying that the economic reality of the scheme itself rests on the issuer, i.e. Ripple. So it matters not what they think in the first place, not saying they are right, but that's how I'm reading it. Coming from Kashta, as I mentioned. I mean, it feels like these are just rehashed arguments that we've already kind of gone through here. So these are, all right. Okay. So this is just, I was going to go over this. That was Sherry's summary of that. Bill Morgan, saying this is absolute garbage and shows an appalling lack of knowledge by the SEC of how crypto markets work and prices rise. If they want to talk about rising tides and prices rising, that happens at the level of the market as a whole, not because of promotion of issuers. All boats rise when the market rises, and this usually conforms to Bitcoin rising as well. So, they really do have an unsophisticated view of XRP if they assume that, it rises independently from the rest of the market. Again, Bitcoin is the leader and altcoins follow. That has always been the case for cryptocurrency. And so any one particular coin, I mean, yes, we do get some price movement sometimes based on news, but it's not always the case. I mean, it's not set in stone. Ultimately, the market moves when Bitcoin moves. That is the general consensus, and the way a lot of us make our trading investment decisions. Kashta responding to Bill as well, saying, "Wow, most crypto buyers buy off the promotion of issuers and the expectation of fulfilling their roadmaps, etc. The law is clear. It looks at how the issuer sells it, not what the buyer thinks. Actually, the law in question looks at the economic reality and totality of the transactions in question, which is what the judge did on the inadequate evidence from the SEC side before her on the elements of the Howey test." I really wish people would proofread their tweets before posting them. Nevertheless, I think we get what Bill is saying here. Another interpretation of what's going on. I think all this, though, could be a moot point if Ripple's chief legal officer, Stuart Alderati, is correct on this. Michael Branch posting this. Stuart Alderati says that the SEC's lawsuit is likely to be abandoned by the incoming Trump administration. So maybe we're worrying for nothing, guys. I think, this is likely the case. The Ripple CLO said in a new era of pro-innovation regulation and how that is coming down the pike when Trump comes into office, he congratulated attorney Paul Grewal and Coinbase for their win against the SEC. U.S. Attorney Hogan said that the U.S. SEC was only appealing the ruling that what the XRP sold to retail investors on exchanges were not sales of securities. We're going to go over Jeremy Hogan's response in a second. But really, what we want to talk about is the Trump administration increasing hopes for Ripple's win. Alderati was certain that Gensler's war on crypto at the SEC would end on January the 20th, immediately after Trump's inauguration. He pointed out that Ripple was confident in its position on the appeal, and it looked forward to working with the new SEC leadership to resolve most of the pending complaints. According to Alderati, a federal appeals court had laid bare what the industry had repeated for years. Gensler's selective enforcement of securities law was a not-so-hidden attempt to ban the crypto industry. The Ripple CLO argued the incoming government to cleanse the agency of lingering stains, saying that there was much more to do to repair the damage. Alderati said Ripple planned to expose the SEC's lawless tactics. A court disclosed that the SEC was adopting its litigation positions to further its desired goals, not out of faithful allegiance to the law. Alderati said the question was not whether the SEC under Gensler, it was. I don't even understand how that grammar works, but okay. Vivek Ramaswamy, he claimed the worst part about the SEC was that it regularly lost cases in federal court because they contorted their rules in illegal and unconstitutional ways. Ramaswamy said the agency was worse at following the law than the defendants they went after. So we got some opinions there from Vivek as well. Ultimately, though, Stuart Alderodi's saying, you know what? This is just not going to fly when the Trump administration does come in. Now they have some pro-crypto people in there that are going to be advising them. One of those people is Charles Hoskinson, and they're going to be getting a whole slew of others to help them formulate some meaningful crypto policy in the coming, dare I say, weeks even. So Wrath of Kahneman also commenting, this is a helpful info sheet from Ripple about the SEC appeal. If you guys are still interested, I will link this in the description of the video. Comes directly from Ripple's website. Nearly 4 years ago, the SEC filed a politically driven lawsuit against Ripple rather than faithfully applying the law. The SEC lost on key issues. So down here, Ripple remains committed to defending against the SEC's overreach. So what is not being appealed? Just to be clear, guys, the appeal does not question whether XRP in and of itself is a security. And this is probably why we are seeing it soar to new inter-year highs at the moment. The SEC is not challenging this ruling. The SEC clarified in 2023 that they do not consider XRP a security. The SEC's attorney even acknowledged that arguing a token alone as a crypto asset security was incorrect. XRP now joins Bitcoin and Ethereum, having explicit clarity. So that is number one. What the SEC is appealing. The SEC's appeal focuses on whether Ripple's own sales of XRP on crypto exchanges and other distributions like grants and charitable donations qualify as investment contracts. The court agreed with Ripple in their ruling that these sales and distributions did not require SEC registration. It's this decision that the SEC is appealing. Why Ripple is cross-appealing? So Ripple's cross-appeal seeks to preserve all its defenses, including that an investment contract requires traditional contractual rights and obligations. Ripple will continue to challenge the SEC's flawed lawsuit, defending not just its own interests, but those of the broader crypto community and the U.S. and globally as well. So not just defending law in the United States, but really trying to set a precedent, hopefully trying to set a positive precedent for things moving forward around the world. So wanted to thank the Wrath of Kahneman for posting that. Of course, thanks to Michael Branch, Cashed Up, Bill Morgan, here, James K. Filan. Who else here participated? Sherry, Eleanor Turret, of course, Vincent Van Code, Krypton Writer. Thank you all for everything you do. Now, Jeremy Hogan commenting on this, going over the brief. He says, in my opinion, the case won't be ruled on, but I've come to this, I've come this far, dang it. Here we go. My thoughts on the initial Ripple versus SEC appeal brief. So Jeremy Hogan starts this thread by saying the SEC is only appealing the ruling that XRP sold to retail investors on exchanges were not sales of securities, as I just mentioned. That's all. So remember that. It's not appealing that no investors were harmed, etc. He says, I honestly found the brief lackluster, almost as though the drafter knew he was wasting his time. For example, almost half the brief was spent just reiterating that the trial court ruled. That part of the brief was almost as long as the trial court ruling itself. It's kind of like trying to talk to a girl into going out with you and then spending half your time telling her back the reasons why she said no previously. That's a pretty good analogy. At the heart of it, what the SEC wants the appellate court to say is that it does not have proof that XRP purchasers were aware of Ripple's statements that it would work to increase the price of XRP. It relies primarily on 3 cases for that proposition. The problem the SEC has is that from my reading, from the first 2 cases, they say no such thing. Further, not needing to show reliance, which is what it argues, is a completely different thing than not needing to even show knowledge, which is what the trial court ruled is missing in the Ripple case. Expect Ripple to destroy this in its reply, if we get there. He goes on to say the SEC's best case is probably the Aquasonic case. No, it has nothing to do with cleaning teeth, but the SEC has to do with this case but what the SEC has to do with this case is what I call Frankenstein together, a case ruling that helps them out. So basically they have to cobble together different pieces from a case. That means the SEC has to piece together one sentence from 2 pages of text. It's not good, and to make matters worse, when you read the case, you realize the investors knew exactly who the seller was and what the promises were, unlike in Ripple. Expect Ripple to distinguish this case to shreds as well. So Jeremy Hogan pretty confident on those points too. So I was a little shocked, he says, since I hadn't thought about this case in a bit and that the SEC had failed to get my any reasonable evidence into the records that actually XRP retail purchasers knew about Ripple and its promises to them, especially given the thousands of affidavits submitted by Attorney Deaton. I don't understand why it didn't try and counter that evidence, even if just in case. But remember, hindsight is 20/20, and Lord knows I've had that moment in trial when I suddenly realized I had forgotten to prove up a part in my case. I ended up appealing the ruling also. So Jeremy Hogan saying, finally, this brief highlights the dangers of the appeal for the SEC. Let's assume it goes forward for craps and giggles. If the ruling on retail sales is upheld, which I'd put my money on based on what I just read, you now have essentially put into effect a law that the SEC has to prove knowledge of the promotional statements. That will be a costly and time-consuming endeavor. Bad facts make bad law, and these are bad facts for the SEC. Further, the appeals give Ripple its opening to raise its investment contract require contractual obligations argument, this time in front of probably the correct court, which would also mess up the SEC if it were to lose. And that argument is even better for Ripple. It makes no sense to me. What I do know, I'm sure Gensler and the two other Democratic commissioners who decided to pursue this and are currently brushing up their resumes know better. Thanks for reading. And good night, says Jeremy Hogan. So, nothing to worry about, guys. Really, XRP is on a tear currently, still trying to butt up against that level of support. Look at that, $3.20. As of the time of this recording, we're still butting up against that recent high. And I got to say, for those of you guys who are worried, just take it from Moon Lambo here. When the SEC sued Ripple back on December 22nd, 2020, the price of XRP dropped close for an entire week. Do you guys remember that? Losing about $15 billion in market cap. Then when we learned the SEC would file their notice of appeal on October the 2nd, 2024, the price of XRP only dumped for about 90 minutes. So notice how the effect is getting less and less. When the SEC filed their opening appeal brief today, that was yesterday, January the 15th, 2025, the price of XRP only dumped for about 45 minutes and only fell about 6% from $3.16 to $2.95. It's very clear that the market doesn't give a damn about any of this litigation nonsense. Onward and upward, guys. Not to mention, look how bullish Gemini is on XRP. Explore your potential and reach remarkable opportunities. XRP. I mean, when the exchanges are coming out with their bullish statements, I think we should be paying attention further. Again, for my targets, where I'm going to sell my XRP, you can follow me. Yeah, by the way, I'm laddering out. I'm not waiting for a specific price. Follow me at patreon.com/workingmoneychannel, my cash out strategy, guys. I've learned a lot over the last 7 years. This is where I'm completely transparent, showing you guys exactly where I'm going to be cashing out at. Patreon.com/workingmoneychannel. And subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.